This is Bangladesh, home to over 170 million people and incredible nature. The country is also blessed with a rich cultural heritage and world-class cuisine. Its strategic location in Southeast Asia makes it a regional hub for commerce and connectivity. As such, the country is emerging as a dynamic and fast-growing economy. The journey towards the economic miracle was not an easy one. For decades, Bangladesh was known as an economic basket case. An extremely violent independence war and many natural disasters left the country utterly ruined. It was then the poorest country in the world, with a life expectancy of 26 years, and the average person survived on 33 cents a day. Against all the odds, Bangladesh in the 21st century has emerged as a potential economic powerhouse. Since independence, economic growth and industrial production has grown rapidly. Between 2016 and 2021, the country had an average annual growth rate of 6.4%. Bangladesh has outpaced many of its Asian peers, including India and Pakistan, and has performed significantly better than the global average growth rate of 2.9%. At its current rate, Bangladesh is on track to become an upper middle income country by 2031. There has been a sharp reduction in the poverty rate from 44.2% in 1991 to 5% in 2022. Life expectancy has increased from 54 to 72 in the same period. GDP has increased almost ninefold since 2000. Literacy rates have almost doubled since 1991, improving human capital. The middle class has also expanded significantly. By 2030, this group could contain about 15% of the population. Consumption accounts for almost 70% of Bangladesh's GDP. Thus, businesses make higher revenues and have the means and motive to invest. This can spark a positive multiplier effect whereby increased investment leads to less unemployment and higher average incomes. Bangladesh is also benefiting from a demographic dividend, and over 50% of its population is working. This means more resources can be allocated towards economic growth. How did a nation with a very slim chance of growth create such an economic miracle at such a flying pace? In this video, we will explore the factors behind the boom and potential challenges threatening it. In the 1980s, Bangladesh decided to take inspiration from China and implemented several key reforms to liberalize the economy by pursuing a strategy of export-led growth. New export processing zones were established, offering cheap labor and low taxes. These encouraged more foreign investment and helped the country become a center for low-cost manufacturing. Having a flexible labor market and a young workforce also attracts firms to operate within Bangladesh. Also, being a less economically developed country gave it special duty-free trade with developed economies, making Bangladeshi exports more competitive. By the 1990s, the garments industry was booming. Today, Bangladesh is the second largest garments exporter in the world. In the last decade, garment exports have more than doubled to $42.6 billion in 2022. The industry accounts for 16% of the country's GDP and 85% of its export income, with more than 12 million Bangladeshis dependent on the sector. Other industries such as shipbuilding, tourism, and ICT are growing rapidly. These tend to have higher added value than clothes, thus boosting the country's export income and growth. Jobs within these sectors also tend to be higher paid, improving the material living standards of workers. It also helps diversify the economy away from garments. Another reason behind the economic growth was the strong Bangladeshi diaspora. Following the globalization boom of the 1980s, many Bangladeshis emigrated to countries such as the UK and the UAE to find jobs. These workers sent remittances back to their families, providing a valuable source of foreign income. Remittances to Bangladesh were worth a grand total of $21.5 billion in 2022. Remittances are also used to keep the balance of payments stable. These are a set of accounts that record the transactions between one country and the rest of the world. Remittances lower a current account deficit and provide foreign currency reserves. Foreign currency can be used to import critical capital for development or keep a nation's currency stable. The Bangladeshi government has used this income to fund infrastructure projects and improve energy security. Notable developments include the Rupa nuclear power plant, which is the largest mega project in the country. It is set to cost $12.65 billion and provide up to 15% of Bangladesh's electricity upon completion. Remittances also limits dependency dependency on foreign aid, which often comes with negative strings attached. Furthermore, some studies suggest that foreign aid in many nations has facilitated copious amounts of corruption as funds are squandered and fail to reach the most vulnerable in society. Remittances can also help the development of a financial sector. This can encourage more savings, consumption, and investment in an economy. Access to credit may also be improved, giving startups and firms the finance needed to invest. Bangladesh has unveiled numerous programs to encourage enterprise. Usually, commercial banks are hesitant to give loans to startups due to the risks associated with them. As such, the government has stepped in to offer alternative finance options to help entrepreneurs. In 2021, Bangladesh Bank announced a £35.6 million startup fund. Entrepreneurs will be able to borrow up to £71,200 at a 4% interest rate. Bangladesh is already home to over 2,500 startups, with about 200 more being added each year, concentrating on a wide range of industries including finance, logistics, and e-commerce. Startups in Bangladesh have raised over $880 million in the past decade and have created more than 1.5 million jobs. Foreign direct investment into Bangladesh rose by nearly 13% in 2021 to $2.9 billion and remained constant in 2022 despite gloomy global forecasts and recession worries across the globe. Investment into startups grew by 940% from 2020 to 2021. For example, bKash, the largest mobile financial services provider in Bangladesh, raised $250 million from SoftBank, making it the country's first unicorn. A unicorn is a startup company with a valuation of over $1 billion. Many of these startups are fueling a digital revolution in Bangladesh. In 2008, the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina announced the Digital Bangladesh Vision. Since then, the country has seen an impressive growth in its digital economy. Between 2008 to 2023, Bangladeshi mobile cellular subscriptions jumped to over 180 million, making it the ninth largest mobile market in the world. Internet usage went from 7% of the population in 2013 to 39% of the population in 2021. The use of digital financial services has exploded. Bangladesh is expected to see an increase in cashless transactions from about 15% to nearly 60% over the next 20 years. In the same period, nearly 90% of the population will have access to bank accounts, credit, and other fintech services. An increase in digitization has numerous benefits for the economy. Firstly, it saves a lot of time and effort for everyone. Consumers are better informed and have more choice. Producers can benefit from lower costs by outsourcing and increasing productivity. Increased internet access allows more people to work from home. This has led to a freelancing boom. Many firms seek to outsource to countries like Bangladesh to exploit cheap labor. As a result, the freelancing industry is now worth over $100 million a year. The government's move to digitization has improved service delivery significantly, saving $11.22 billion and 9.26 billion workdays. Digitization also helps reduce rural poverty as connectivity improves. More Bangladeshis can take advantage of the internet for information, education, recreation, business, and trade. Despite these remarkable gains in the past 5 decades, the country is facing a few challenges threatening to overturn the economic miracle. For one, Bangladesh is very energy insecure. 60.5% of total power generation in the country derives from natural gas. Population and economic growth meant that electricity demand has skyrocketed in the past few decades. The war in Ukraine saw the price of gas shoot up exponentially. The government was forced to cut its energy subsidy. This creates inflation and energy shortages in Bangladesh, making exporters less competitive. Also, exports had declined due to the pandemic, meaning foreign reserves fell by 20%. Social unrest resulted with protesters unhappy over the rising cost of living and fuel prices. Consequently, this forced the government to seek a $4.5 billion loan from the IMF, adding to the national debt. The pandemic exposed Bangladesh's reliance on the garments industry. In 2020, overall exports declined 15%. The country has struggled to diversify. However, diversification is key to ensure long-term sustainable growth. New industries which offer higher value-added products must be developed. Another major problem in Bangladesh is its uncontrolled rural to urban migration. The capital, Dhaka, has seen its population rise from 10 million in 2000 to over 23 million in 2023. The city is suffering from surging house prices, swelling shantytowns, and unbearable traffic jams. Many citizens lack basic water infrastructure and face poor sanitation, leading to disease. Air and water pollution are major killers. In addition, climate change is displacing many people from rural areas. Bangladesh is one of the world's most vulnerable nations to global warming. As one of the lowest-lying countries in the world, it faces frequent natural weather events like floods and cyclones. As temperatures rise, extreme weather events are expected to be even more intense and frequent. 56% of the population live in high climate exposure areas. From 2000 to 2019, Bangladesh saw 185 extreme weather events costing $3.72 billion. Rising sea levels means 1 in 7 Bangladeshis could be displaced by 2050. This could have catastrophic impacts on the agricultural sector. Agriculture employed 37% of the population in 2021. Rising sea levels means arable land is lost to salination. This reduces crop yields and may force farmers to lose their livelihoods. Salination also contaminates drinking water for millions of people. Bangladesh is also victim to substantial corruption. In Transparency International's 2022 Corruption Perceptions Index, Bangladesh ranked 147th among 180 countries. Extortion and bribes are commonplace. This makes the business environment very challenging. In 2019, the World Bank ranked Bangladesh 168th on its Ease of Doing Business Index. An anti-corruption commission was established in 2004 but has been very ineffective and weaponized against political opponents. Property rights and law enforcement is weak. Many officials are appointed not for their merit but rather through bribes and good old nepotism. The judiciary is controlled by the government, so it remains powerless to do anything. The country has also seen bouts of political violence. Massive anti-government rallies this year ahead of the January 2024 elections has resulted in deaths. The ruling Awami League party has been accused of rigging elections and silencing political opponents. Political instability may reduce confidence in the nation's economy and deter investment. For the foreseeable future, Bangladesh looks set to continue its boom. With support from investors and its large consumer market, the country will look to diversify away from garments, similar to how China moved away from low-cost manufacturing into higher-value processed goods. However, efforts to alleviate rural poverty will be needed to slow down the meteoric urbanization. To ensure long-term economic security, a stable political environment must be established, one that encourages investment and enterprise. If the government keeps perpetuating the vicious cycle of corruption, all gains made by the country could be reversed. Climate change mitigation and adaptation must also be high on the agenda. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked the video, please feel free to leave a thumbs up and a comment. Don't forget to subscribe for more compelling content. As always, we appreciate your support and we'll see you in the next video. Until then, Shubho Bidai.